Hello, and welcome to
Papi Approved Movies.
My name is Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
Our podcast will review and critique my favorite PG-13 movies.
Movies that I wasn't allowed to watch until I turned 13.
Every other week, Natalie and I will watch a new PG-13 movie.
And I'll see if Papi's movies live up to the hype.
Which, of course, they will.
Today we're going to be watching Ghostbusters.
Before we begin, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want it to be spoiled,
press pause and come back when you're finished. Now, Papi, tell me the deeds on this movie.
Hello, Natalie.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
That's good to hear. Are you ready to talk about this movie?
Okay.
Ghostbusters came out in 1984. That's 40 years ago now. The runtime of 1 hour and 45 minutes. It's streaming on the Roku channel. It's written by Dan Akroyd, Hal Ramis, and Rick Moranis, and directed by Ivan Reitman. Main stars are Bill Murray, Dan Akroyd, and Sigourney Weaver. Actually, the writers were 3 of the characters from the movie. I didn't even notice that. Fun fact, this movie's still making sequels 40 years later, and maybe another one's in the works. And the last one that came out was 2023? No, it came out this year, 2024. Pretty popular franchise. They even made a all-female Ghostbusters, and it was widely regarded as a terrible movie. We saw it. It was okay. What'd you think of the movie?
It was okay.
Just okay?
Yeah, I didn't like it very much.
You don't like it very much? What happened?
I don't know.
What did you rate it?
I give it a 2 stars.
2 stars? Oh my gosh. I don't even know why. This movie was pretty funny and still a pretty good plot 40 years later. I'm shocked that you didn't enjoy it as much as I did.
It was okay. I thought there would be more ghost busting, but then they just went into different dimensions. But I like ghosts better.
Okay.
It's supposed to be Ghostbusters, and they're talking to, like, gods. I feel like it should have been, like, more paranormal experience, like.
Oh,
I'm saying
I see. You should have had more ghosts. Like Slimer is the only one that we saw, or 2. We only saw. No, there are other ghosts that we see.
Yeah, but it's like, it feels misleading. It feels like it's supposed to be like about ghosts and ghost hunters and all of that. And then it's just about people. There's like gods and stuff. And it's not really ghosts.
Okay. I think I know what you mean. The majority of the ghost catching that happens is in a montage, right?
Yeah.
We don't actually see very much of it. There's a couple scenes that we see. Actually, the first scene in the library, they don't catch the ghost.
Yeah.
Then we see the Slimer scene. That's the green ghost. He has a name that he becomes a very popular ghost in the Ghostbusters world. And he's the green one that he is seen at the end of the movie eating a bunch of hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it, huh? The other ones are in montage.
And I don't understand how, like, the machine exploded and the world just starts ending. But, like, then everything is fixed at the end. But what about all the little ghosts? Like, they didn't defeat any of the little ghosts that were roaming around.
Yeah, I think they'll end up getting them throughout the time. The only reason the ghost came out was because of Goza coming back. Like, it was the Revelations, right? The dead come to life. The only reason that the ghosts are there is to greet him and bring him back.
Oh.
So, there shouldn't be any more ghosts. There shouldn't be a second movie. A 3rd and a 4th and a 5th and a 6th and a 100th movie. But of course there are, so they figure out a way to bring more ghosts into New York City. Only 2 stars, huh? Yeah, I'm a little shocked by that because I thought it was pretty funny. You seemed unentertained at all by the story. I thought it was a good story. I thought it held up pretty good. So it wasn't too much I think you would say wouldn't get made today, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
Why don't we get into the recap?
Okay. Movie begins in New York Public Library. A librarian is putting away books when books begin to fly from shelf to shelf, and the card catalog cards begin flying around. She hears noises and runs into something scary and screams. So that's the card catalogs. It was like those shelves and had all those cards in them. Those are the name of the books were in those cards. So you would look for the book, alphabetical order. Let's say I want to get The Giving Tree. Now I would look under Giving Tree or by author. Find the card and it tells you where it was. There was no computers back then.
Whoa.
Yeah, so those were the card catalogs that we had.
What if someone already took the book?
That's a good question. You wouldn't find it. You go look and it's not there.
This seems like a lot of effort.
Yeah, reading and library work had a lot of effort back in the 80s, the dark ages, when they didn't have cell phones and Instagram. Dr. Peter Venkman, a professor at the university, is doing an experiment on ESP with 2 students, a girl and a boy. When the boy gets a wrong answer, Peter shocks him. When the girl gets a wrong answer, Peter lies and says she got it correctly and then compliments her. This guy is fed up and he leaves. Then Peter makes his move on the college girl. Dr. Ray Stantz comes in and tells him about the currents at the library. They leave for the library and meet their colleague, Dr. Egon Spengler. The 3 of them work together in the paranormal and psychology department at the university. They interview the librarian to make sure she's not crazy or on drugs. Then they start taking readings and collecting slime samples. They run into the ghost and then freak out and run away. I don't know what they were thinking they were going to do once they saw the ghost. They didn't even know.
I don't really see what this was all about.
What do you mean?
This segment, they didn't do anything.
Yeah, they went to go find the ghost.
And then nothing happened. They just looked at the ghost and then left.
They didn't have an equipment. They didn't know what to do with them. It's like, for the first time in the world, the person sees a lion. They're not going to be like, I'm going to wrestle that lion down to the ground. They're going to have to figure out how to attack the lion and contain it. And that's what they do, because Egon figures out that he can catch and contain ghosts. When they get back to their lab at the university, the dean comes in and kicks them all out. Their grant has been pulled, and they're all fired from their positions. Peter, Ray, and Egon decide to go into business for themselves. The team creates Ghostbusters, a company that will catch and store ghosts. They find an old fire station to be the headquarters and an old ambulance to use for catching ghosts. They create a commercial and get a sassy secretary named Janine.
She sounds like the lady from Monsters, Inc.
We never did look up if that's the same lady.
Mike Wazowski.
They have no customers at all. So in the beginning, they have no one. They spent all this money repairing a broken down building and a broken down car, and they don't have any customers, so who knows. Dana, a musician, is coming home with groceries. After putting down her eggs, they begin to jump out of the container and cook on the countertop. Then she hears a noise from the refrigerator and she opens the door. There's a gate and a dog monster inside, and they call for Zool. Dana goes to Ghostbusters headquarters, and Peter begins flirting with her immediately. The team takes the job. Ray will research the building, Egon will research the Zool, and Peter will go with Dana to her apartment and check things out.
Me personally, I would not leave with this man.
Why? He's supposed to be a professional. He's a doctor.
But he's scary.
2 PhDs.
He's scary. And he already has attempted to flirt with you in like the 2 seconds that you just met him.
Okay. So what does that make him, a bad person?
No, that means like he could be scary.
So people who flirt with other people are scary?
Yeah, well, if someone flirts with you for one time, then you don't immediately like let them know where you live. Because what if they're a stalker?
That's true. But they're business. It's like you go to I guess let's say you go to a plumber's office and the guy starts making a pass at you. And then you're like, hey, can you still fix my toilet? And he's like, yeah. Where do you live? You wouldn't take him up on that offer?
I don't know, but I'm also saying that what if it was just some person walking around holding up a sign saying, I do plumbing business, and no one has ever gone to this guy ever before. So you don't know if he's legit or not. So you just go up to him and he starts flirting with you and then he goes, okay, what's your address?
No, that's different. But I agree, if you go to a plumbing business, it's very unprofessional if you just start flirting with you, right?
Yeah.
So I could get where you're like, you know what? No, thank you. I'll find another plumber who's not going to be flirtatious with me. So that way I feel safe.
But also, like, it's not a very reputable place because no one has ever used this service before.
They have a TV commercial. They have a brick and mortar store.
That doesn't mean anything.
To me, that's more legit than some online thing that you think that you've seen reviews for that could be easily fabricated.
Anything can be fabricated.
Not a building. You walk into the building, it exists. It's there. The commercial is on TV. It costs a lot of money to make a commercial on TV.
But it used more money to scam people.
Yeah, you need money to make money, I guess. Peter and Dana go back to her apartment and Peter doesn't find anything. Then Peter makes his move and she rejects him. Peter says he will solve this case to make her love him. The boys celebrate their first customer with the last of their money. Then Janine gets a call, and there's a monster at a hotel nearby. The boys spring into action, right over in their ambulance, blaring the sirens. Actual ghostbusting. You wanted to see. Here it comes. The Ghostbusters get to their hotel, and the manager says there's a ghost on the 12th floor. Eventually, they find a green ghost. They go after him, and he flies through Peter and slimes him. They trap him in a ballroom, and the battle is on. Egon warns them that they cannot cross the streams of their proton lasers, or they will die horribly. They catch the ghost Slimer and put him in a trap. The manager is furious that they destroyed the ballroom and refused to pay the $5,000 fee. They threaten to release it back into the hotel, and the manager relents. Ghost sightings grow exponentially, and the Ghostbusters are everywhere. They're so busy they hire a man named Winston to help them out. The team becomes famous, appearing in newspapers, magazines, and even on TV. They go viral. Peter goes to Dana to tell her about the information the team found on Zool. He's an ancient god. He tells her that he has more information but wants to see her later to share it. She starts to find him amusing and agrees to the date.
I wonder if this movie was made now, they would probably have younger people play the Ghostbusters.
They still have to be doctors. So you're looking at professors in their mid to late 20s. Minimum. Right?
Why do they have to be professors?
Because they're the geniuses that invented everything. So, I mean, you do hate on Peter Venkman. He's kind of like a sleazy dude. He has 2 PhDs. Guy's obviously a genius.
I don't know. I think that they could replace it with a bunch of nerdy kids.
So the Ghostbusters movie with a female cast, which is universally hated, you should watch it. Maybe you'll like that movie more. And maybe... No, see, I don't think they can go away from them being professors. So I bet you the movie has...
Are the girls not professors?
I don't know. I don't remember the movie at all. I remember watching it and thinking it was just so boring.
I thought that this movie was boring. I even wrote in my notes, it's very slow at the beginning.
Yeah, 1980s movies kind of slow. I think there's an actress named Melissa McCarthy. She's hilarious. In every movie she's ever been in, she is like the funniest person ever. She was good in it, but even she couldn't save that movie. I thought that movie was pretty terrible. All right, at Ghostbusters headquarters, EPA agent Walter Peck visits and is angry when Peter doesn't answer any of his questions about the business. He believes the containment area they put the ghosts in may have environmental repercussions. Peter dismisses Peck and laughs at him. As he leaves, Peck vows to come back with a warrant and close down the Ghostbusters. It's kind of weird that the EPA is the bad guy in this movie.
I know. I don't really like this. Because it's like, this guy, maybe he's a little bit annoying and he should have just listened to them. It didn't really make sense because obviously he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about to shut the whole machine down.
Right.
But is someone who's trying to save the environment really the bad guy in this movie?
And he's unlikable because the character's unlikable, but Peter's a jerk to him. Right? Peter's dismissive of him. He laughs at him. He's the one who was the instigator of the anger. The guy was just come in and he's like, what's going on here? We need to know. You guys have nuclear accelerators in your proton box. How do you have that behind the government's back?
And all I'm saying is that big companies are the number one cause of fossil fuels. So I think that this guy's in the right, to be honest.
So the hero of the story is Walter Peck to you.
Yeah. But he was kind of dumb. He doesn't know what he's talking about. If someone told me that thing that you're about to turn off is a bomb, I'd be like, okay, let's wait and investigate this.
Yeah, let's get some experts in here.
Why would you just shut it off? Everyone's gonna die or something bad's gonna happen. Obviously, it's very powerful for you to want to shut it down. Why would you just not think about any repercussions?
Yeah, or I would have arrested the guys. Until you can help us figure out how to close this down, you guys are all going to jail. On the roof of Dana's building, a stone Gorgon dog comes to life. Lewis, her neighbor, invites her to his party, but she says she can't go because she has a date. Dana sits down and hands grab her from the inside of her chair and drag her to the evil Gorgon dog. Next door at Lewis's party, another Gorgon dog confronts him and he runs away. He almost gets away, but eventually the Gorgon dog catches up to him and attacks. Peter gets to Dana's apartment and can see she is possessed. She says she is Zool, the gatekeeper, and is looking for the keymaster in preparation for the coming of Goza. She growls and levitates. He sedates her and goes to headquarters. Lewis is picked up by the police for acting very strange, and he's brought to the Ghostbusters headquarters. He says he's the keymaster. Ray and Egon check him out and think that if the gatekeeper and the keymaster get together, it could mean the end of the world. Walter Peck shows up with a police officer to shut everything down. They turn off the containment center and all the ghosts escape. Many of the spirits converge above Dana's building. The Keymaster escapes as the 4 Ghostbusters are arrested. In jail, the Ghostbusters talk about the building Dana and Lewis live in. It was designed by a Goza worshipper and was constructed with his resurrection in mind. Then they are called to see the mayor. The mayor talks about how all of New York is under attack by ghosts. The boys tell him the world may end if they are not allowed to stop Goza. The mayor lets them go in search of votes for the next election. The gatekeeper and the keymaster hook up. Inappropriate! Then they go to the roof and are struck by lightning in order to resurrect Goza. The Ghostbusters get a police escort to the building and eventually get to the roof. They watch Lewis and Dana turn into dogs, and Goza comes to life. Goza shocks them, almost knocking them off the roof. They attack back, and she disappears. Are you shocked that Goza was a woman?
No.
Okay. Ghostbusters feel they have won after she disappears, but then Goza starts speaking to them. She's given them the ability to choose in what form she will return. Everyone empties their mind except Ray, who thinks of Stay Puft the Marshmallow Man. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man attacks the Ghostbusters, and they don't think they can beat him. Do you think it was a real brand? That's what you asked during the movie?
Huh?
I'm not sure. Do you think the Stay Puft is a real brand of marshmallows?
Well, I was thinking of Jet Puffed, and then I realized that it was different. Well, my first thought when I saw him was I mistook him for a different mascot.
Which one?
The Pillsbury Doughboy.
Oh, very different.
No.
More like the Michelin Man. Yeah, you're right. The Pillsbury Doughboy.
He has like the segments of his body like Stay Puft Man. And he has a hat.
If you had a movie now, what would it be? What would the huge mascot of innocence that would attack them come in? What form? Pillsbury Doughboy for you?
No.
Tony the Tiger.
Toucan Sam.
Toucan Sam. That's pretty good. Toucan Sam. It would like eat your face off. That would be over. It wouldn't be able to win.
He's kind of a scary person if he was big.
The Lucky Charms guy? We're thinking of cereals only.
Why only cereal?
I don't know. Cocoa Krispies.
I don't know where else there would be mascots.
There's mascots and everything. The Michelin Tire guy.
Oh, it would be, what's his name? Geico.
The gecko?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
The gecko from Geico.
He comes in and he's like, ah.
No, he would also be kind of scary big.
What would be a cute, I don't know. What would be a cute mascot?
The Baby Bell cheese.
Which one?
It's just cheese. It's just the Baby Bell, but it talks.
No, boring. It has to be a mascot. It has to be something that you would think that would be very sweet.
It would be Ellie the elephant from Papi movie.
Ellie Elephant would be the one that would destroy. She would destroy us. It would be a mess. Egon says that they should cross the streams. Maybe the only way to defeat him. The Ghostbusters cross their streams and it creates an explosion that destroys Goza. After the explosion, they wake up covered in marshmallows. Even Dana and Lewis are okay once they shed their Gorgon dog skin. They get to the ground floor and people cheer for them. Then Peter kisses Dana. The end. Good movie. Very funny. Good action. Not good action, but good movie, good story. I think it still holds up pretty well 40 years later. I would say it holds up better than like Back to School. You don't think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. Could this movie still be made today?
No.
Well, they made one this year, but go ahead. Tell me why this movie could not be made today.
I just feel like both Dana and I don't even remember his name.
Who?
The other dog, Keymaster.
Lewis,
I feel like them being like possessed, I feel like they're getting taken advantage of in their like human forms. And like, why do both of them have like such an extreme sex drive as soon as they're possessed?
I think that's the point. They had to be together.
I don't know. I think it's stupid.
And yeah, there's no reason for them to have relations for this to happen.
Exactly. Or for Dana to be like, have sex with me to the guy when she's possessed.
Well, she thinks he's a keymaster.
I know, but it still doesn't matter.
Well, I think if they have sex, that's how they resurrect Goza.
That doesn't make it... Why does that need to be necessary?
You're right. It doesn't need to be necessary.
It's completely
but that explains
unnecessary,
why.
And they're just like putting...
Well,
they're
that's
just
the plot.
using this woman.
Well, they're using the man too.
I know, but I'm saying that that's why I included him in the earlier sentence. But
right.
I also think that she had an extra scene, and it was a lot for like to get viewership, to have
her
this
floating in the air and all that. To
have this very beautiful woman wanting to have sex with everyone because she's possessed.
Okay. All right. I don't know if that wouldn't happen anymore, considering they still have exorcism movies that come out like every 3 months. I think that'd be something. Yeah,
but are these the people that are getting exercised wanting to have sex with everyone?
There's a little bit of everything going on.
Anyways, I don't think it was worth it.
No, I get it. They could have got rid of that. And then what? Have her be like punching him in the face, attacking him?
No, they could have literally like put their hands together and like glowy beams.
No, I get that. No, but I'm saying like, how would Peter have known if she was possessed? You just start screaming and yelling and throwing up and stuff?
I don't know. I've never seen a possessed person, and I don't plan on it.
No, we're not going to. We avoid possessed people. Sorry if we have possessed people that listen to the pod. We're not.
I'm not sorry. Click off.
Unsubscribe. No, we don't want to tell anyone to unsubscribe. We need listeners, don't we?
We don't want possessed. Go to a church first.
Go to church.
Come back when you're finished.
All right. What else did you have a problem with? Even though the whole movie is rather a good movie.
I don't like the guy, but like that's just his character, so
Peter?
I can't really say anything. But like to have like a hero of the story be this like womanizer, it's not the best look.
Yeah, I think it's still kind of the thing. I think a man's coolness factor has a lot to do with how much he chases girls. And that's dumb, right? I don't know if that's ever going to change, but that still happens in movies now. Like he's a cool guy because he gets girls, kind of thing.
And I feel like it's very double standard.
100%.
Because if there was a main character that was a girl that was getting all the guys, then that main character would be like a huge slut.
I think there are movies like that. There are definitely characters like that. They're very uncommon. And I don't know if...
And I don't think they're very liked either.
I'd have to think of a movie where the girl is like a woman. Well, a manonizer. Is that a manonizer? Like the opposite of a womanizer? A manonizer?
I don't think that's a word.
Well, we understand what we're thinking it means, right? I don't know very many movies where a woman is a manonizer.
See, that's even the point. There's the term womanizer, but there's no term for a woman to like have a bunch of men. You would just automatically call her a bad name. Yeah, that's my true. Point exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think womanizer is a bad name. If that's an adjective someone gives a man, they don't like that man. Right? The men wouldn't even use that term.
It's not that bad.
Oh, I think so.
It's not as bad as the names that
if I were dating your mom and one of my friends came up to her like, hey, Papi, he's a womanizer. You know what she would have done? She would have dumped me. She would have left me right then. That's not something that she wants in a person that she wants to be with. It's a bad quality. It's a bad quote.
It is a bad quality, but I don't think it's as bad as what women get.
No, they get called a lot worse, right?
That's my point.
Although men are getting that shame now too. I mean, there are terms that are bad for men, very insulting to men who like to be with a lot of women, which we won't see because it's a bad word. So, but it's coming too. Although there is no manonizer. Anyways, there should be. If you know a movie where a female is a manonizer in the movie, but she's cool, let us know. All right, what else? Since you don't like Peter Venkman, who's hilarious.
That's really it. I think those are both very huge parts of the story.
I think him trying to be with her, like, he's too much, right? He's like flirting with her. He's like too much. He won't stop. And then when she calls her mom, she says that later she has a date. And she tells Louis she has a date. So she knows that all of that ghost busting stuff with excuses for them to get together and go on a date. So she was preparing for a date. So she liked him too. She was up for it. And that kind of explained the kiss at the end of the movie. Because I thought the kiss was There was no reason for it. But the fact that they did have like a date planned means that she was interested in him as well.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, it doesn't take away from the fact that he would be called a womanizer, because he does this to every single woman in the movie, except for the secretary, who's already going after his friend.
She likes him, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a scene in the movie where he's underneath the desk doing the computer work, and she's just sitting there. And then he stands up, and I'm like, wait, what's going on there? What was he doing something? And then you're like, she's the one that didn't give him the space.
Yeah.
The dude's like, I'm going to work under your desk. And she just sat up against him, like pretty much squishing him.
No, they had a reason for it. It was like a computer fix or something.
I get it, but why didn't she move out of the way?
I don't know.
If this was...
Or there's like another part where the guy's like talking to her, and then she's like, oh, something, and then like grabs him or like hugs him and like puts her head to his chest. And it's like, oh my gosh, she's so desperate. Like, calm down.
Janine in this movie is a manonizer.
No, but it's only one guy in the whole
Well, that's all we
movie.
saw. She was the main character. We don't know what she was doing before. She probably got fired from her last job for sexual harassment, for being a manonizer. So. I think so. I think that explains everything.
Well, then you would see her flirting with the rest of the Ghostbusters.
Funny thing about her, she is a manonizer, because in the second movie, Ghostbusters 2, she ends up with a Keymaster Lewis. So they end up together.
I just made a point by what I said literally like a few seconds ago. She's in this movie, she's not a cool person. I literally just said like 2 seconds ago, she seems so desperate. And I said that like, oh, like a bad thing. She's not seen as cool. No, they didn't paint her as cool. They painted her as this like girl and she's not getting any of the attention back.
I don't know if the paint job was the problem as opposed to the perception job. You called her desperate. Was Peter desperate? You never said that. He was desperate.
He was desperate, but all of the girls reciprocated it. And it was like weird. Think about the first girl that he met was the student. Yeah, the student. And she was all like twirling her hair like, oh yeah, I'll see you. When do I see you? Like blah, blah, blah. And then I don't know if there was any other girl. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, probably throughout the whole movie.
Just for like a bit. And then the second main girl that he talked to literally called his mom and was like, I'm going on a date with this guy.
But he's desperate though.
Yeah, but everyone's reciprocating. Egon was like, what the heck is this girl doing on me?
Well, Egon, I think, can't reciprocate anything to humanity. He's just such an odd person, right? I think that's the character they made him out to be. Like, he was just an odd guy who just wasn't all there. He was just in his brain all the time. I don't know. I think it's funny that we have a manonizer in this movie too, Janine. And you know what? We're going to have to call Webster's Dictionary and then put it in there. Manonizer, now that we have it.
I can add it to Urban Dictionary.
All right, do that. All right, anything else?
I didn't think the CGI was good.
Oh, hater. In 1884. This movie's 140 years ago. 40 years ago, of course, the CGI is not all amazing.
I know, but I'm talking about would this be made today, and this would not be released with those CGIs.
Definitely not. It looked cheesy.
It's like if you use like a lasso tool and you like picked up the monster and went wee all across the screen.
Oh, before they had lasso tools.
I'm trying to be relatable, and you're stepping on my words.
Stepping on your dreams. You know, I think I'd have to think in 1984, because watching it looked ridiculous, right? It looked super fake and super dumb. I wonder if 1984 me saw that and went, oh my gosh, that's scary how real it is. Because we watched special effects of something that happened 10 years ago. And at the time you thought it looked real. And now it looks terrible. And I bet you in 10 years they're going to look back on a movie like Ready Player One. They're going to go, ooh, that looks really bad. I don't know. I do wonder if special effects will never age well. Because they just get new technology every day.
I don't know.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Does it pass the Bechdel test?
No.
No. All right. The Bechdel test is a test to check for female representation in movies. There are 3 criteria. Criteria number 1, are there 2 or more named female characters?
Yeah. I don't remember their names.
Dana and Janine.
Oh, Janine. And then there was the librarian lady. And then...
Librarian lady had a name. And
I think it was Holly.
Something like that. And then the first
girl.
She had a name too.
Yeah. So those are the 4.
So many. Criteria number 2, do they talk to each other?
No.
So at no point in the movie does Dana talk to Janine when she comes in?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember. Because I know Peter ends up talking to her, but I imagine that she has to go through the secretary first, right?
I think she just says, like, hello. I know this might sound crazy. And then he, like, jumps over the desk.
Because he, like, sees her and he's like, hello. Let me rap at you real quick. All right. So we're going to say no then. And that is a fail. All right, so it doesn't pass. But you don't think they had a conversation when she came and visited?
I think they did, but I don't know how quickly it got cut off by that guy jumping over the counter.
So it's a maybe then?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put the not pass, but I think it's a maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Thank you for tuning in to Papi Approved Movies.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app, or like our podcast on YouTube. And remember to comment down below the ghost emoji if you watched all the way to the end.
We put out an episode every Monday.
If you want to see extra podcast content, follow our TikTok at papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
If you want to suggest a movie for us to watch and critique,
email us at papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
That's papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com. No spaces, no caps.
We'll try our best to get to your suggestion.
And remember, it has to be PG-13. We'll be back in 2 weeks to watch The Sixth Sense to cap out our Halloween month. I'm Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next time.